Well, hello. It's time for another exciting episode of Pens in Use. This is the show where I talk about the fountain pens and inks that I've been using throughout the week. And what a week it's been. So, let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And I guess I just have a plethora of little topics, so, I don't know, comment something. Let's take a look at the pens. Alright, so these are the pens I've been using this week. From left to right, we have the Visconti Homo Sapiens, the Visconti Mirage, the Lamy Artus Prinz 15p, Koh-i-noor 1309, Noodler's Ahab, a Omas 360, the smaller version, whatever that's called, a Parker 61, and we'll talk about the ink coming out of that here in a few minutes. Parker Vector, Pilot E95S, as somebody corrected me today in my vlog. This Maryland Darling was the one, I think. This is the Platinum 3776. This is the... Sorry, drew a blank there for a second. Dolce Vita Masterpiece. And finally, the Conklin Word Gauge. So let's see how they write. In other exciting news, as I film this, I've discovered that this shirt has worn through. So that's great. So my first pen is a Visconti Homo Sapiens. I've heard some criticism of Visconti over the years. Some of the pen reviewers especially didn't like them. I remember Matt Armstrong in particular was very critical of them. I don't know if the reputation they had is deserved. It sounds like people are happier with them again. I can only go by the pens I own, and this is a good one. Now, it's had its little hiccups. Like, the reason I have this Tiger Eye dealio here is because the finial that was there fell out, and I don't know where. So I replaced it with a Tiger Eye, and it's not magnetic anymore. You know, this whole My Pen system is supposed to magnetically, and then you can switch your finial, whenever you want, because it's so cool. But I can't, because the magnetism is gone. So, yeah, I could have sent it back to Visconti for repairs, but I just super glued this in and called her good. I also at one or two points had ink filling the cap. It's just like the pen decided to vomit ink all over. And those were the early days. And I've had a good relationship with the pen since. I love how it writes. It just feels good in my hand. This is one of their palladium nibs. I guess they've gone back to gold. And I got to experience one of their original gold nibs because, VIS. As you saw in my vlog earlier today, I have another Visconti. And it's an older pen with one of their older gold nibs. And yes, it's very good. I will say it's not as flexible as this one. Not as much fun as this one. But I'm happy I have the pen. So this is the Visconti Homo Sapiens. The ink I put in it, I had to give up on the bottle. So I now have it in one of those Peniter inkwell thingies. This is Colorverse Jupiter Flyby. This is one of those inks that if Colorverse ever put this out in its own bottle, I would buy, even though I'm on an ink buying moratorium right now. This is one I would make an exception for because I love it. This color change is fun and very Jupiter-y. And then, and you'll get to see it happen. You can see it's already brown over here. And then once the color is changed, it changes to Jupiter-y colors. So here we've got the red spot. And the shading reminds me of the bands on Jupiter. I don't know how many of you have actually been to Jupiter, but it is a beautiful planet. Not so nice to go down into the atmosphere because but it is a very nice, beautiful planet to look at from a distance. Like when you're taking a walk out on Io, just You got to be careful walking on Io because of the lava, because you're looking up at the sky and then you step in lava and whoop, my foot melted off. Whoop, the air's going out of my spacesuit now. Doggone it. So maybe try that on Europa or one of the other moons. Okay. So, sorry, I don't mean to, brag about my travels. Those kind of people who do that too much are obnoxious. So we'll go back to the pens. This is the Visconti Mirage. I will be honest, one of the reasons it's inked up right now, I've been pulling pens out of my collection with an eye toward giving them away or selling them. This is one I would sell. And I was just trying to decide with this one if it's one I want to keep or sell. I think it's very beautiful. I remember years ago they had a model, the Vincent van Gogh, and I just loved the sunflowers one, and I kept thinking about it, but I didn't like the metal section. Never bought it. This one doesn't have a metal section. But as I've realized, I don't ink this pen up very often. So, sell it? I don't know. I've got till spring because I just don't have time to do that kind of thing till school's out. So this is a Visconti Mirage. This bad boy has a broad nib in it. And the ink in it is Pelikan. I wonder if I'll get any of my Italian viewers upset with me for using this ink. 4001 Violet. I used Private Reserve Tanzanite in it once, and boy, oh boy, did I get the tongue lashing from a couple of Italian viewers. I even had I don't speak Italian, but there was a video made about me basically bashing me for using the Tanzanite in this pen. Which I thought was hilarious. I almost put Tanzanite in it this time just to see if I could trigger somebody again, but I didn't. My next pen, which has been my daily writer basically this week, is this Artus Prinz, which is a Lamy pen. Oops, it unscrews. So this is a Lamy Artus Prinz. And I am suddenly drawing a blank what ink is in it. I was reminded when I went to check on the ink, it's a 15p. The ink is actually Callifolio Noir. I like Callifolio inks. Part of it's because I'm a vintage guy. I will concede this is not one of my favorites. I kind of want to just use this bottle up and be done with it. So I may very well just do that and then say good riddance. Because black is an ink I use a lot of. So it won't be hard to use this puppy up. My next pen is a Koh-i-noor 1309. The ink in it is Parker Quink. Washable blue. So far not a very bright selection of inks, although I like this violet a lot. This is another pen. It's not a real fun pen. It's just a good, reliable daily writer type of pen. So I like it. I like it quite a lot, actually. My Noodler's Ahab. It started to green, or yellow I should say, a little with age, but because it was a clear blue pen, it looks more like green. And I've actually run through a surprising amount of ink from this pen. You know, Noodler's pens are kind of a gamble. This one happens to be one of the good ones. Noodler's Kung to Cheng. That's the only ink I put in this pen. It's a kind of a high maintenance ink. So I don't put it in other pens because I'm just asking for trouble if I do. And but it seems to work well in this one, so we're happy. And this pen doesn't get any other ink in it, just this Noodler's Kung to Cheng. This Omas 360, nice triangular pen. There's actually a name for it, the rounded triangle, but I've temporarily forgotten what the name is. Omas 360. There's a medium nib in it, and the ink in it is Iroshizuku. Tsukushi. Which I did know what that meant, but I've forgotten. If you're wondering why I'm doing suddenly flattened rectangles for my ink swatches, it's because I always want to fit my writing samples on one page, and I'm halfway through the page and running out of room. Got a lot of pens to go this week. So this pen, the Parker 61, was in use all day today. This is what I did my speech ballots with. I brought it with me the last time I judged speech, but then I thought, you're going to run out of ink at an inopportune moment, because I didn't realize the ink capacity that it had at that time. So it didn't get used, but today it got used. And yeah, no problem with ink. It seemed like it was starting to write more blue also, so we'll see here. Parker Quink. Washable blue. I think, and it's a Parker 61. I apologize for that. I forgot, the important part. And I think that looks very washable bluish. It looks as washable blue as that Koh-i-noor up above. I think I may have most of the black cleaned out of this, finally. Now, just for giggles and snorts, I pulled out my first impressions notebook. I'm going to just flip to the page where I did this pen. There it is. So, originally it was writing like that. And now it's writing like that. So, I think I finally cleaned the black out of it. I have a Parker Vector. And like I said last week, my memories of Parker Washable Blue are that it's a very faded, washed out blue color. And yet every pen I've used it in hasn't been. Maybe I know why now, because I think it was the Parker Vector I was using all those years ago. I have the weird feeling this is not Parker Quink Washable Blue. Oh, shoot. Okay, it's not. This is Parker Quink Permanent Blue-Black. Not just regular blue-black, doggone it. Not just regular blue-black, this is the permanent stuff. So I have 2 days off next week. So I think I'm going to be doing a Parker ink video where we look at the properties of a couple of these fun inks. Because I got to know, man. We have a Pilot E95S. Thank you, Marilyn Darling, for pointing out that there is an S on there. I'm guessing it's for stainless for the top. I don't know, but I'm guessing. The ink I have in it is Pilot Blue. I will concede that I'm not a huge fan of Pilot's regular line of inks. I once had a 350 milliliter bottle of their black, and it was a happy day when I ran it dry. But did I learn my lesson? No, because now I have a liter each of Parker Quink. I'm sorry, I don't have that. That wouldn't be bad. I have a liter each of Pelikan 4001 Brilliant Black and 4001 Royal Blue. So I brought part of the Royal Blue home with me. The next pen is a Platinum 3776 with koi finish. So little fishies. This is a pen that appealed to me. I like the platinum nibs, of course, but I bought it for the finish. This is Iroshizuku. I want to say Momiji. I'm right. Two more pens to go, so I have successfully fit it all on one page. This ink undergoes a mild color change, nothing like whoa, but not like that Jupiter Flyby that I opened with, but it's pretty nice. I think it's supposed to be like an autumn leaf color or something. I don't know. We get to the Dolce Vita masterpiece, which will probably demand 2 lines. So Dolce Vita masterpiece with a medium nib. And the ink in it is Iroshizuku. Yuyake. Oops. This is another pen I inked up kind of to find out, do I want to keep it or is this one I want to sell or give away? This is one that ended up on the keep list. Delta is no more. And, the fusion nib is a little bit of a curiosity. And it does feel really good in my hand. So all those factors have aligned and I just decided, I'm going to keep this one. My final pen is another keeper for sure. It's a Conklin Dura gauge. Word gauge, sorry. Is there a Dura gauge or Durgraph or something that I confused it with? I'm not like a Conklin buyer, really. This is the only Conklin pen I own. I feel like I did own another Conklin at one point because the nib looks familiar. I'll have to look through my old reviews to find out if I did. But anyway, kind of a neat design. I mean, totally silly to how many words are left in the pen, but it looks good. And more importantly, I like how it writes. With its little medium Conklin nib. Look at you. And the colors this week, I'll have to pull out and show you the whole page. I better ink up some green. For a second there I drew a blank. What ink is in this? Parker Blue! Not washable blue, just plain old blue. So those are the pens and inks I've been using this week. A little bit of pen case type stuff too. And yeah, it's been a week. We had our regional science Olympiad, which normally would have been March 11th, but this year, thanks to the pandemic, it became March 10th and 11th. Normally we go up to Dickinson on the 11th. We stay there all day. And throughout the day, kids are going to testing events, they're going to lab events, they're going to build events. And when we're not doing that, we're all gathered together in this tiny little room. Like all these different schools from southwestern North Dakota, and sometimes one of the Bismarck high schools comes. And not this year. For obvious reasons, we've got a pandemic going on. So what they did is they had us give the tests at our schools. They got rid of all the lab events. So I spent all of the 10th, which was Wednesday, proctoring tests, which was... I'm sorry, but yeah, the proctoring tests is no fun. And yeah, then I delivered them on Thursday to Dickinson. Our appointment was at 10 o'clock because they scheduled each school to have a half hour up there and to show their build events. And they cut back on the build events, so I had to shuffle kids around like, oh, sorry, you can't be in that one because they're not doing it this year. So we had 3 for the junior high division, 3 for the high school division, and that was it. And so we competed in those, and then we had to shoot off campus, and the next school came in. We had... It's about... Okay, the bus driver drives faster than me. When I drive, it's about an hour and a half up to Dickinson and an hour and a half back. So 3 hours out of your day for a half an hour on campus. But, you know, they've got to take care of their students and their staff too. So, you know, I understand. I just... Well, and you know, they don't want the Southwest Regional Science Olympiad to become the next super spreader event, because we're science people. We know better. We can't just follow conspiracy theories. There ain't no virus. It's all a conspiracy. No, we can't do that because we're actually science people. We will find out on the 25th, which is about 2 weeks from now, whether we actually made it to state. And if we made it to state, we don't get to go to Fargo this year. We will compete virtually. However the hell you do that. So, I'll admit there is a part of me hoping we don't make it to state because I just don't want to deal with that. That whole virtual thing. And looking around at different states, some states got rid of their build events entirely, or... You know, to compete in build events, you didn't actually build it. You just simulated it on the computer and just, yeah, it's not the same. And, you know, I've got kids in the Science Olympiad team. The whole reason they went out is they wanted to build something. So let's suck that little bit of fun out of it. And talking to, well, a very good coach from another school who usually beats my team, he only had 4 kids total go out for Science Olympiad this year. I was luckier. I had, 12 in the high school and 6 in the junior high. So, you know, he had the 4 overall. Yes, I do talk to people. I don't have to see them face to face to talk to them. But anyway, yeah, not looking too pretty. But I don't know, because I didn't get to see the other schools, so I don't know how we did. I don't even have a feeling. I just don't know. So we'll find out. The school before us got disqualified in 2 of the build events, so that was a good lesson to our kids, because one of them, at the last minute, do we need to have a logbook? You didn't do a logbook? Ping pong parachute, you need a logbook with 15 entries in it and 5 variables. So, that was fun, but she was so happy she had one then, because that was what disqualified one of the groups from the previous school, is not having a logbook. Another one was a construction violation. So I guess all in all, good lesson. Somebody commented in my on my vlog type video that we've got the experience as adults. We try to share it with them, but we got the experience because we probably didn't listen to the adults in our lives and had to learn the hard way. So, that's what they're doing now to me. What's he know? Doggone it, I'm 13 years old. I know more than he does, that kind of thing. So, anyway, it's a good experience, and I really hope it's back to normal next year, because I can see if it continues like this, it's just going to kill the program everywhere. So, a lot of things I want to see back to normal, so go away, COVID. All right, in other exciting news, I had a busy time a while back, and during that busy time, I posted a few things on the community tab. One of them was about the pens that Joe Biden uses. Now, if you don't know, when presidents sign major bills or maybe executive orders, they'll have a whole slew of pens in front of them. They'll sign like part of the signature with one, hand it to somebody, here's the souvenir. Then they'll sign another little bit, here's the souvenir. And, they hand out these pens. So Joe Biden apparently likes cross pens, which has been the pen of choice of most presidents in the last, probably since the 80s. It sounds like Parkers were more popular before that, but in the 80s and on. And I was just kind of disappointed to discover it's rollerball pens. And then I researched a little bit more, and it sounds like, rollerball pens have been pretty much the norm. I guess Bill Clinton liked rollerballs because he was a lefty, and do rollerballs dry faster than fountain pens? Apparently. So, that's, I guess, it's not even really an American manufacturer anymore. I mean, it's cross, but they're based in America, but all the manufacturing is in China, which a lot of things are. It's just how the world is. Could he find an American manufacturer? Maybe. I'm trying to think. Edison Pens, I think, is American. Is Bexley American? But then you're getting much more expensive pens, so there is that. Interestingly, I knew the jokes about Trump, and I'm not getting political here, I'm just stating some facts. I knew the jokes about Trump and his Sharpies, and, we've all seen the weather map with the extra stuff drawn on it with the Sharpie. So I always figured people made fun of Sharpies and Trump because of that. Well, it turns out Trump, just like every president, had his preferred pen for signing documents that he gave out as souvenirs. Only he, honest to God, used Sharpies. Now, custom-made Sharpies, they were all black, and I think they had his signature on them. But, he, honest to God, used Sharpies. So, I really thought all this time that was just a cheap shot at that time that he modified a weather map. So, learn something there. There's also some stuff, I'll try to remember to put a link. Apparently Bill Clinton used some counterfeit Montblanc pens at one point to sign some legislation which made Montblanc sort of... And I've got a funny article about a Czech leader stealing a pen and, everybody does it kind of thing, which, once I read the article, I remember that. So that was kind of a fun little piece of history. And, during this time when I haven't been uploading much, we landed another rover on Mars. This one has microphones, and I put a link down below. You can listen to Mars. It sounds like a mildly windy day in North Dakota, but it's the sounds of another planet. I don't think we've done that before, so that was super cool. And I'm excited to see what that whole thing, what they discover with that rover, because It's even got a helicopter that can go up and fly around and look for Martians or something. Because that's part of what they're doing, is they're looking for signs of life or even possibly surviving life. Because there's some weird life out there. I mean, I shouldn't call it weird. That's very... I'm not being woke enough when I'm calling it weird, but you know what I mean. Some very different from the typical life just here on Earth in the extreme environment. So could there be life on Mars left? Probably not intelligent life, probably like bacteria or something, but it could be there. So I'm excited to see what they find out anyway. I have... just going to pull this so I don't have to keep leaning forward to read my list of topics. Last summer, I did some driving videos, and one of them I took you through Turtle Lake, North Dakota, which is a town where I used to teach. And I mentioned about the power plant over in Underwood is going to be closing down in the next couple of years. The company that owns it looked for a buyer. They could not find one. Of course, the problem with the power plant is it's coal, and coal is just on the way out. Whether we're going green energy or not, it's on the way out. There are other power sources that are just cheaper, more flexible, just better. And so nobody bought it, and they're going to decommission it, and that's that. Well, the county commissioners in McLean County, which is where Turtle Lake is and where the power plant is, we're like, wait, that's going to be like a major economic blow to our county. We got to keep this coal plant here. And they've been trying to find a buyer, but of course nobody wants it for obvious reasons, economic. And but they managed to get it passed that that windmills are not allowed to connect to the power lines that took the power from this coal plant. So they've got a major route of power through the county. There were people interested in setting up turbines, and they said no, because what they figured is that will force the plant either to stay open or will encourage somebody to buy it. No, it's not going to happen. So they've shot themselves in the foot, because now they're not going to have the coal plant, they're not going to have the coal mine, and they're not going to have a couple of jobs that would come in with the wind turbines. They're just going to have nothing. So, good job there, McLean County. Hope you all get voted out of office. Excuse me. Another interesting video that came up during this hiatus from YouTube was from Thought Slime, where he discussed being on YouTube. And he's a little bit larger channel than I am. He's past 250,000 subscribers. I'm like inching toward 5,000, barely. And it was actually really dark to listen to this video. You know, and then I realized, I get the same kind of thoughts too. I guess I don't record them. Because what he mentioned is he recorded the video in a very dark time, and then he comes on a few days, with the party filmed a few days later, and yeah, I'm feeling better now. But, it was just interesting and very honest is what I want to say. And anyway, I'm sharing it with you because I felt it was worth a listen. Of course, I forgot to mention this morning while I filmed that little vlog, I was judging a speech meet. And again, that pandemic has just done a number on it. Usually with speech, all the school districts in the area would go to one school, and they would speak in front of different judges. Usually you'd have 3 rounds and a final round. But the bonus was they got to watch other competitors from other schools and say, oh, I need to improve, or, oh yeah, that guy. They got to do that. And of course the socializing with kids from other schools. Not this year. This year it's one school at a time. So, Killdeer competes from 10 to 11. And then Dickinson Trinity competes from 11 to 12 or, whatever. And so they don't get to hear each other or see each other. And then the other thing that happens, as judges, we don't rotate around from the rooms. Because usually from 9 to 10, I'm going to judge serious prose. 10 to 11, I'm going to go judge poetry. 11 to 12, I have off, so I get to meet other teachers and coaches and, just random people that are here from all these different schools. And then we've got, another event. And so each hour, I'd be done judging the events, turn in my ballots. I've already got them ranked first to last, and it's pretty easy because you're listening to the speeches and you're like, whoa, okay, you're going to the top of the stack of these ballots. Oh, is it over yet? Oh, you're going to the bottom of the stack. So you could rank them during the whole time. So now I'm judging the different events throughout the day, sitting in one single room, not talking to other judges. And what judges we do have are all local people who I know already. And I just then I have to remember, okay, so this kid I listened to at 2 o'clock, are you better than the girl I heard at 9 o'clock? So it's not much fun. But, it's what we have to do this year. Like I said, I hope things go back to normal next year. I said some very depressing things during that vlog about how this has been one of the worst years teaching in my life. And yes, it has. I've not enjoyed teaching at all this year. For a lot of reasons. And I think a lot of it stems from the pandemic. And I was having a great year last year till all of a sudden we just, oh, nope, you got to teach from home. And that was that. And then we come back to this. So here's hoping next year is better because this year sucks. Pardon my swearing there. Moving on to my last topic. During all that time that I was away, being busy, there was a little blizzard down in Texas. And, of course, several YouTubers are from Texas, so I contacted them. I wanted to know how they were doing. Sounds like they were all okay. But what a mess. And it sounds like it's largely self-inflicted. And what was interesting is the governor and a couple other people immediately tried to deflect from it, saying, it was green energy, guys. It was those damn windmills. Well, I was just telling you about windmills at the start of this video in North Dakota. If they can handle North Dakota, I think they can handle Texas. But the problem in Texas wasn't the windmills. It was the fact that they didn't winterize anything. And yeah, this is a once in every 10 years type of storm. It happened, 2011? And I feel like there was one in the 90s. But, so it's not every year like it would be here in North Dakota. But when it happens, oh my God, you've got major economic damage. So wouldn't it make sense to winterize? Most other states down there did to some degree. And they, of course, most other states are part of the national grid. Now, Texas is a little bit of a special situation because there's a lot of people there. So joining one of the grids would have been a bit of a challenge because that would have been a lot more power plants, a lot more people, many, many, many more people than these grids are built to handle. So the rolling blackouts that happened as a result of problems in some of these other states that are in that area would have been so much worse. In fact, fun fact, here in North Dakota we had rolling blackouts, but not where I live. Why? We are, here in town, we're on Montana Dakota Utilities, which is a Montana company, which means we're on the western grid, whereas most of North Dakota is on that eastern grid. So that's why, and that's where all these states that had the blizzard were. So that's why eastern North Dakota, well, most of North Dakota had rolling blackouts, but here we were comfy and warm because we happened to be on the correct grid this time. I've included a video because this was kind of shocking. I learned a few things about Texas, actually. I included a video from a channel called 8-Bit Guy. Yes, I'm a nerd. You saw me talk about Python in my vlog. 8-Bit Guy is a Texas YouTuber. He talks about older technology mostly. And he had a lot of damage to his house thanks to water pipes breaking and so on, thanks to the freezing. And, you know, he shows it to you on the video and everything. And you saw the videos of icicles hanging from lights from the ceiling or from fans in the ceiling. So I did not know this, but apparently basements aren't much of a thing in Texas. I did not know that. I don't know why, but apparently they're not. So, you know, your water pipes will come into your house and they'll go up like a side wall and then across the ceiling and then down to wherever. Whereas in my house, the water pipe comes in underground. It comes actually right under that bookshelf is where my water pipe comes into the house. It comes in, and then it comes up from the basement into the house. So, you know, if that breaks, yeah, I'm going to have a flooded basement, but it won't really wreck my house. So, that was, like I said, that was interesting. I did not know that about Texas. So, I learned something. So, anyway, I don't know if there was a real theme in anything I said. We'll find out, like I said, on the 25th, how Science Olympiad went. And, yeah, if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens, both new and old, and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And if you found something out of that mishmash of topics that you want to comment on, please do leave a comment. I never say subscribe. Well, yeah, I do say I would invite you to subscribe. I never say ring the bell or any of that stuff, but you know, the algorithm does pick up on whether people are commenting and interacting. So even if you give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, you know, that I don't make a lot of money on this channel, but it did buy me 2 nice pens this year, so I am grateful for that. Of course, then I spent my own money on this camera, but that's another story. So, anyway, I want to thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.